All right, let's dive into one of my favorite plants, the Easter cactus. If you've ever wanted a houseplant that just explodes with incredible color right as spring is getting started, then you are in exactly the right place.
You know, I absolutely love this quote. It just frames what we're talking about so perfectly. This isn't just some random plant, right? It's part of a bigger, really cool family. And today, we're gonna fill in that missing chapter, the beautiful spring part of the story.
Okay, let's get the number one point of confusion out of the way immediately. Because what's so cool is, once you know what to look for, these guys are totally different. See the Thanksgiving cactus on the left? It has those really sharp, pointy, almost claw-like edges. The Christmas cactus in the middle is a bit softer, with more rounded, scalloped edges. But our star today, the Easter cactus, its segments are smooth and rounded, and the flowers, wow. They are these gorgeous star shapes that open up completely flat. So different.
So here's our game plan. First, we're gonna properly meet the Easter cactus. Then we'll build that solid, year-round care foundation. After that, we get to the really good stuff, the secret to unlocking those amazing spring blooms. And we'll wrap it all up with troubleshooting and some pro tips that'll make you feel like an expert. First up, let's get to know this plant. And honestly, if you only remember one single thing from our time together, let it be this subtitle. Say it with me. It's a jungle cactus, not a desert cactus. That one simple idea is the key to absolutely everything. So let's run through its profile real quick. The fancy scientific name is Schlumbergera gaertneri, and it's originally from the subtropical forests of Brazil. Now here's that jungle thing again. It's an epiphyte, and all that means is that in the wild, it grows on other plants, like hanging out on tree branches, catching rainwater and filtered sunlight. So definitely not a sun-baked desert plant. Oh, and fantastic news for all you pet parents, it's non-toxic to cats and dogs. And get this, with good care, this plant can be with you for decades. We're talking 20, 50, even more years. Okay, so we keep hammering this jungle, not desert idea. But what does that actually mean when it comes to taking care of it day to day? Let's build a foundation that's gonna keep your Easter cactus healthy all year long. First up, light. You've got to think like the plant. It lives under a canopy of trees, right? So it's getting plenty of bright light, but it's all filtered and dappled. So in your house, that means bright indirect light is the name of the game. That nice, gentle morning sun from an east-facing window is perfect. Or maybe pull it back a few feet from a big, sunny, south-facing window. Just whatever you do, keep it out of that harsh, direct afternoon sun. It will scorch those segments in a heartbeat. Now watering. This is where a lot of people get tripped up, but it's really simple if you just remember that core idea. It's used to jungle moisture, not desert drought. So check the soil with your finger. If the top inch or so feels dry, it's time to water. And when you do, give it a thorough soak. But, and this is the absolute most important part, you have to let all that excess water drain right out the bottom. Letting it sit in a puddle of water is a death sentence. Root rot is the #1 killer of these plants. So let's say your plant is wilting. Don't panic. This is your diagnostic cheat sheet. A wilting plant can mean two completely opposite things. On the left, it's wilting, but the soil is soggy and wet. That means its roots are drowning. On the right, it's wilting and the soil is bone dry. See? Same symptom, totally different problem. That's why you always have to check the soil first. It'll tell you the real story. And hey, you want to know the best way to prevent a lot of those watering problems in the first place? It's all about the soil. Here's a perfect recipe you can mix yourself. 2 parts of any good potting soil, 1 part perlite, and here's the secret sauce, 1 part orchid bark. I'm telling you, that orchid bark is a game changer. It creates all these little air pockets that let the roots breathe, just like they would in the nooks and crannies of a tree. Okay, here we go. This is the section you've been waiting for. We've got a healthy plant, it's growing well. Now, how in the world do we get that spectacular flower show in the spring? It's all about understanding and unlocking its natural annual cycle. Think of this timeline as the plant's year-long training schedule. Summer is when it's bulking up, lots of growth, regular water and food. Fall is the transition period where things start to slow down. Winter is the crucial rest period. This cool, dry time is the trigger that tells the plant to get ready. And then, bam, spring is bloom time. That's the payoff. You can't skip a phase. Each one sets up the next. And here it is, the magic number, the single most critical piece of information for getting your Easter cactus to bloom. That winter rest period we just talked about, it needs to be in this temperature range. This is so important. Unlike its holiday cousins that need changes in daylight, the Easter cactus means a proper cold spell to set its buds. No cool rest, no flowers. It is truly that simple. So let's turn that into a simple action plan. Sometime in the late fall, find a cool spot for your plant, maybe an unheated garage, a chilly porch, a basement window, and leave it there for about 8 to 12 weeks. During this time, you're going to cut way back on water, maybe just a splash once a month, and stop fertilizing completely. Then, as late winter rolls around, you bring it back to a warmer part of the house and start your normal care routine again. That combination of cold followed by warmth is the signal. It screams, it's springtime, time to bloom.
All right, you have the secret to getting blooms. Now let's go over a few common problems and some of my favorite pro tips that will take you from just growing this plant to truly mastering it.
Let's start with the single most heartbreaking issue. You do everything right, you see those tiny little buds starting to form, you get all excited, and then they just start falling off. It is so frustrating. So why does this happen?
The cause is almost always some kind of sudden change. These plants become total divas when they're budding. A sudden draft from a door, a blast of heat from a vent, a big temperature swing, even just rotating the pot can stress it out enough to drop its buds. So here is the golden rule, and I mean it. Once you see those buds appear, find its spot and do not move it. Period. Just let it be until the show is over. And here's a fantastic pro tip for getting an even better display next year. As soon as the last flower fades, go around the plant and just gently twist off the last 1 or 2 segments from the end of each stem. This encourages the plant to branch out right from that spot. And what do more branches mean? You got it, way more flowers next season.
So we started this by calling the Easter cactus the missing chapter in a story. Well, now you know exactly how to write that chapter and make it a brilliant one. When you realize you can have these amazing cacti blooming in your home all the way from Thanksgiving through May, well, the only real question left is, which chapter of the story are you going to add to your collection next?